Okay. Appreciate everybody jumping on today. Obviously, it's a little bit different. It's a little strange not seeing you in the room with me, and then trying to look at you on TV and a big picture of me. That's not usually my cup of tea. So appreciate all of you joining us. Obviously, a lot of things have happened in the last 24 hours. Um, I appreciate. Our administration and Oklahoma State's administration, the two schools working together. Um, we both agreed that this is probably the right thing to do for the health and safety of all of the student athletes involved. And that's always been and always will be our number one concern. So we're excited about having the opportunity to go to Stillwater and play Oklahoma State. They're an extremely talented team. I mean, basically have everybody back offensively and defensively. They're very explosive. They're very well coached. I know our guys are excited about it. I think we've got a good nucleus of guys that are ready to play. And, we're excited about our season and what's coming up. We feel like we've got some weapons in some spots. We're trying to continue to develop the depth and the things that you have to have, especially in the times that we're dealing with right now. But I'm excited about our football team, and I'm excited about the opportunity to go to Stillwater and kick off this season.
We'll open it up for questions.
Coach, obviously a week is can we record this when we come back? He's yelling there, but
Yeah, I don't know.
Hold on one second, Nathan. Nathan, hold on one second. Hey, for those that just joined, you cannot record this, but we will send out a recording of it afterwards. Please send me an email and we will get it to you. And if you can mute your phone when you are not asking a question, we would appreciate it. Thank you.
I think that was you, Nathan, talking.
Yeah. Thanks, Coach. Obviously a week pushing it back is not a long time. I think the chances are, this time next week comes around and you're like, we just can't play this game.
Well, I think for both schools and for both parties, it was more about making sure that our guys have had, and theirs as well, just making sure that we are prepared physically and mentally to step onto the field. And so I think with the additional week of work, I think it gives us the opportunity to make sure that our guys are in shape to do that and continuing to get practices underneath our belts and preparing our guys to play a game that is different than a lot of other games. You just can't step out there and it just happens. So I think, with another week of work underneath, we're preparing our kids physically to play this game the way it needs to be played.
So it's not a COVID issue now, like the amount of positives you have now. It was earlier and you didn't get to practice.
No, I mean, this is more about, both schools and just like all schools across the country, everybody's got some positive cases. This is about just having ample time to prepare our team and making sure that we are physically ready to play this game.
I think it's been a little while since you guys released your COVID numbers. Can you tell us how many positives you have?
I don't know that I'm going to get into the numbers parts of it. Obviously, we've got positive cases. They got positive cases. Again, just like I think everybody across the country does. So I won't really get into the numbers parts of it, but we're still at a decent level, and we'll continue to monitor those things. I mean, our guys have been tested, let's see, last Wednesday, last Friday, again on Monday. We'll test again on Wednesday. So. And then we'll test again on Friday. So I mean, about every other day here we're getting tested. So it's we're staying in those numbers and doing what we got to do to make sure our guys are safe.
Philip, has it been a stressful situation trying to get ready for this game? Did you feel like you guys were really having to press to get to that point where you're ready?
Yeah, Kelly. I mean, we really have, and I haven't hidden that from anybody, right? our number one concern is always going to be our student athletes, and we're making sure that they are ready. And I've talked about that with you and others at the end of practices and things, of just making sure that we get our guys into game shape. And that's you can't do that if you're not on the field, and that's the only way that can really happen. So for us, that was always been our concern, and making sure that our guys are prepared.
Philip, had you decided before the weekend that you just hadn't had enough reps to be game ready, or did this all kind of come to a boil yesterday?
No, I think both universities, from an administration standpoint, they got on the phone, and then not more importantly, but probably with Dr. Gregg and Mike Holder, them having conversations. Those conversations kind of started, I guess, kind of over the weekend about it all. And again, the main emphasis was making sure both teams were ready to play. And so, have I been nervous about it? Obviously, you're always nervous coming into the first game, and always wanting to make sure that your team is prepared and ready. And that goes on a lot of different fronts. And so this not being any different from any other from that standpoint, but now when you add, the virus and all the other things that you're going through right now, there is no normal days. Every day is an adventure. And so, it provides a little bit more nervousness to make sure your team is ready.
So do you, you just said it, Philip, there's no normalcy whatsoever about any of this. So, in the best of years, you've got a ton of pressure on you to prepare a team and to win games. And now you've got the pressure of making sure your guys are okay, or doing everything possible to make sure your guys are okay. And do you feel that additional pressure also to sustain the athletic department? And that's not really even a TU question, that's a college football question. Do you feel even an additional layer of pressure to get these games played so that the athletic department's okay?
Yeah, for my staff, myself, and for our team, we've really tried to focus on things that we can control. And for us, it's about getting our team ready to play. It's about preparing our team in a way that they can be successful on the field, and providing them situations that they can go and perform at a high level. They love playing this game. They want to play this game. And, our job is to get them physically and mentally ready to do that. I think if you start, bringing in all these other factors like you're talking about, it can be overwhelming. And for us, we're just focused on what we've got to do to make each other better today. Continue to prepare ourselves to be the best team that we can be as we step on the field and go compete.
Philip, do you think your players feel some sense of relief getting this extra week? Like, do you think they felt like they weren't ready, or is that more, determination that coach makes and players didn't necessarily see it?
No, I mean, we're very open in our program, and we have good lines of communication for all of our players. And there had been a few guys that had come to me, and we had sat down and discussed just kind of, hey, where we're at. What do you think, Coach? And I feel honored that they have enough, enough comfort to come to me and sit down and say, hey, this is kind of what I'm feeling. I'm a guy that, may have had to sit out a couple of days here and there, and I don't know if I'm quite there yet. I wish I had a couple more days to make sure that we're getting there. And so those conversations did happen. And, we took all of that into consideration as we kind of approached where we are today.
Oh, this is Barry Trammell from the Oklahoman. On the high school level, teams are just playing, and if they have to, cancel, they cancel. Small colleges said we're not playing. The NFL and major college football is forging ahead, but you're having ahead without some of the resources financially that a lot of the other schools have. How tough is it to just say, we're going to play, but you mentioned testing every other day. How difficult is it for the University of Tulsa just to try to
Well, I think it's difficult across the board, but I think this is a situation in the sense that our conference and our players and our administration, everybody's committed to playing. We all want to play, and that's what the student athletes have deemed, and we've talked about as a group. The university, I take my hat off to them because they have stepped up and knowing that for all of us as we continue to navigate our way through, the health and safety of our student athletes is going to be the most important thing as we continue down this road. So we know there's going to be things that we have to deal with and continue to confront each and every week. And, we talk to our players in great detail about just embracing change and adapting to change because every day is going to throw something new at you. And so we can't get caught up in all the details of this and that. We've got to stay locked in and focused to what we need to do and how we need to do it and continue to get better every day. And so I think our university has done a really nice job of continuing that same thought and process and helping us navigate through these uncharted waters.
How important is it to keep the OSU game, and were there any conversations or thought really given to maybe nixing it and focusing on the conference-only schedule, or was it, I guess, a main point of concern? No, we got to keep this out-of-conference game in versus Oklahoma State. I guess how important was it to keep that on the docket? Well,
I think both universities want to play this game. I mean, it's an important game for the state, in my opinion. This has been a great rivalry. Both these universities have played each other a multitude of times, and I think it just makes a ton of sense. And so there wasn't ever any talk of just flat canceling the game. I think both schools and both universities want to play the game. I know the teams want to play the game, and so that was never really the discussion. It was just, hey, we both have an open date the very next week. It just makes a lot of sense right now that we could just postpone it for 1 week, and then we'll play it a week from Saturday.
The last 24 hours, you talked about a lot of stuff happening. Has it changed your outlook on the chances of this season happening in full?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, we know that there's going to be adjustments that have to be made throughout the season. And again, we knew that coming in. So it hasn't changed my outlook or my focus. I don't think it has done any of that for our players as well. We'll let them speak for themselves, obviously. But no, it hasn't changed my thought process as we're dealing with the season and the upcoming games.
You cannot undo the disruptions you've had, but by midweek next week, Philip, will you have had enough reps that it will be fairly comparable to what your prep would have been like a year ago going into the open?
Well, we'll be a lot closer from a rep standpoint than we would have been, obviously, this week. And so, with the continuation of being able to really get good work in this week and then having another full week, I think our guys definitely will be ready to step on the field from a conditioning standpoint, and that was our biggest concern. It's not a schematic thing. It's not, hey, I don't know that I've got all of this put in yet. It's really more of, the conditioning side of this and being ready to play 4 quarters. And, it's hard enough to prepare your team on a normal fall camp where you've practiced every day and you've got them prepared, and then that first game's coming up, and then you still, you know how the first game is. A lot of guys end up cramping, and you have things like that it's a different deal, and so you've got to go through that. So I think this week and next week will definitely give us the opportunity to be more prepared and our guys be more physically fit to be ready to play a 4-quarter game.
So, Philip, another pause like this in the middle of the season would obviously result in some canceled games. Is there a magic number for you guys with regard to, how many can be sidelined and you still practice versus, when you would have to shut it down again?
Yeah, I think as we continue to gain more information, and I think this is probably for every university across the country, as we continue to gather information, the CDC, they're changing stuff every week or every 2 weeks or whatever that might be. And so as those guidelines change, you have to be able to adapt and change. So, that percentage or that number is going to continue to fluctuate a little bit, probably back and forth. So, I would hate to say, hey, this is our drop dead number right here, and not feel completely informed in that manner. So that's probably a better question for, somebody a little higher up on the flagpole than I am. I think you're still on mute, sir.
Oh, sorry. We haven't had many games, 10 or 15 games so far in Major College Football. So not a big database, but we've seen some really one-sided games that look like they should be fairly competitive. Could that be a sign of teams that just weren't physically ready? I know Navy made a big deal yesterday about they really hadn't hit in fall camp, had a lot of social distancing even on practice field, and they look like they hadn't hit. Are we going to see wild stuff like that on the field because of things you went through and are going through this week, and that if teams aren't ready, it could really get out of hand?
Yeah, I mean, you might see some of those things early. I mean, obviously, I can't be definitive in that answer, right? But I think it can lead you down that path, and I think, I know Ken really well. He's a good friend of mine, and I think everything that he was trying to do from a practice standpoint was taking care of his kids, and he was trying to make decisions according to that. Obviously, you still got to get ready to play this game, and so, from that standpoint, I think that's one of the reasons why this postponement for 1 week is going to help both universities. But you're trying to, again, make sure that your team is ultimately prepared to play the game at the right level and at the right pace, and this is a game that it can show your weaknesses in a hurry, especially depending upon who you're playing. And obviously, I'm looking at them. They got a lot of guys back, and they feel obviously very confident in who they are and what they do. And I know for sure that our guys have got to be prepared to step on the field against a very explosive, talented team like Oklahoma State.
Coach, this was obviously a difficult decision to postpone for everybody. Now that it's done, it's official, it's behind you, is there kind of a weight off your shoulders because you made this decision and now you know what's going on going forward?
Yeah, Nathan, I don't know if I consider it like a weight off of my shoulders. I do think I feel some relief, if you would, to at least knowing that we've got a better chance of making sure that our guys are prepared to play. And so we have taken, and our university has taken every precaution to make sure that our guys are safe. And that same thing applies in this decision as we continue to move forward to make sure that our guys are not just safe, but healthy and physically fit enough to play 4 quarters. So from that standpoint, yes, there is some, relief, if you will, knowing that we got an extra week to prepare.
Coach Robert Allen from the Cowboy Radio Network, how are you?
Hey, Robert, how are you?
I'm good. You up for a football question or two?
That'd be outstanding. I'd love one of those.
Okay, well, let's start with Zach Smith on the offensive side. You haven't returned a starting quarterback since 2016. Even with the disruption, how much is your offense maybe in a better place because you've got a returning signal caller?
Yeah, I think, obviously, and I think this is everywhere across the country, when you got your starting quarterback coming back, it makes a big difference. And it's not just from, what they can do on the field. It's a leadership part of it. Everybody on your football team understands that this is the guy that's going to be calling the shots offensively. You get an opportunity for those receivers and running backs and everybody to continue to work timing and getting reps and understanding, hey, I've been in battles with this guy on the field, and when we get this look, I know what he's going to do or what he's thinking and what I'm thinking, and putting those things together, and that's such a huge part of it. And so, I feel blessed and excited to watch Zach get back on the field and go to work. And he's had a really good fall camp. He's continuing to prove that he's got opportunities to get better in a lot of different aspects, but he's continuing to work on those things, and you're seeing those increases happening, whether that's just getting the ball out faster, understanding defenses. You got to remember a year ago when he started his first game, he really hadn't been in live competition in about a year and a half, and so you're knocking off rust and you're getting readjusted to the speed of the game and seeing different coverages and blitzes and things as they start to occur. And so, I thought each and every week, he was taking steps to get better. That in turn makes our football team better. So I'm excited to have him back. I'm also excited to have a lot of guys back offensively right now, and those guys working at a good level and continuing to kind of gain that trust and timing that you have to have offensively to continue to do the things that you want. So that's a huge part of it. Obviously we need more reps to continue to get there, but I've been excited about the ones we've gotten up to this point.
You mentioned the guys returning on offense, skill guys, especially with Zach. I want to go over to the defensive side of the ball. Guy that I saw in camp when he was in high school at Hominy. I got to think he's kind of that quarterback type player for you on defense, and Zayden Collins. And you talk about a guy that, we're going to be watching him on Sunday. There's not a doubt in my mind.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, we're fortunate to have Zaven, and Zaven is, this is a kid that was a quarterback and a free safety in high school, and we got him here, and he just continued to keep growing and continued to keep developing, and has been our starting wheel backer now for several years, and has already done so many things on the field. And you're right, he's a guy that he's a great leader for us on defense. He's a guy that's got a ton of experience underneath his belt. He's got a ton of ability, and he's a guy that we're going to count on to make a ton of plays this year. But he's not going to have to do it alone, because I feel like, yes, we've got some holes to fill defensively, that's for sure. I mean, anytime you lose a couple of guys to the draft and several others that were outstanding players for us, that's going to leave some spots open. That being said, I feel like we've got a lot of experience coming back defensively. When you think about, Caleb has probably started 14 or 15 games in his career and didn't get to play the majority of the season last year. I feel like we still have a starting corner coming back in a Caleb. Ollie Green had a fantastic year last year. And so I feel like we've got two really strong all-conference type corners. Now, they got to prove it on the field, but I know in practice every day they're trying to do that. And, you add that in with Zaven and with Jackson Player and Cullen Wick and Johansi, and I think we've got a combination of guys that are going to be able to step in and play at a high level on defense.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thanks for the football question.
You're welcome.
What is even if you weren't involved directly in the dialogue at the moment of truth with OSU, was your understanding that they were pretty cool with your needing to postpone for a week, and if so, does it kind of underscore that you guys really have a true partnership now with regard to schedule?
Well, I think, again, I give a lot of credit to both universities in coming together and sitting down and really just talking about it. And I think it worked out from a schedule standpoint that we both were open the next week. And sometimes we don't all sit down and kind of take our university hat off and make the right decision, the decision that really just is about common sense. And I think both universities did that. We've had a partnership with them for a long time, and we're right here in the same state together. So again, I give credit to both universities, and I'm glad that we were able to do what we did.
Philip, you have Bryce Bray on your roster now. What does he bring to the table, and is there a chance that he'll get a waiver to play this season?
Yeah, I mean, Bryce is a very talented young man. He's a big kid that can move. He's got great feet, and we're excited about, adding him to our program. He brings a lot to the table. As far as, well, we'll submit the paperwork, and we'll see what the NCAA says and all of that part of it. But at this point, we're not there yet. But we're excited to have Bryce, and he's already, I think, kind of found his niche with us and within our offensive line, and it's been great having him around.
Now, Philip, when you took your pause there a few weeks ago in August, when you came out of that, did you know sort of, we're going to need more time? Or is that something you learned as you went through the restart of practice?
Yeah, I think more than anything, as you come out of those, guys are just not in the same. It takes a whole lot longer to get into shape than it does to get out of shape, right? I mean, I can work out for months and months and get myself in top shape, but if I don't do anything for an extended number of days here, I'm gonna fall back quite a bit, and now I've got to get back to where I was and then continue to build on top of that. And so we knew we were going to have some of that as we were coming back. How fast you were going to be able to regain that and then build upon it, that's where you kind of get into, the unknown territories. And so, we tried to do a really good job of just kind of monitoring guys as they're coming back, kind of adapting our practice schedule to make sure that, you can go out there and you can put your foot on the gas and say, hey, we're just going to blow and go and get ourselves as much work as we can possibly get. But then you're taking a chance on causing injuries in practice, and we definitely don't want to do that, whether you're talking about soft tissue things or what have you. So we wanted to be really smart about the way we brought them back and continue to get good work out of them.
Hey, Philip, with three guys coming back that have all run the ball, how do you see Kendarian Ray fitting in?
Well, I tell you, Caden, I think he's pretty talented, and I've stated this before. I think this is the deepest running back room that we've had since I've been here. And when I say that, I mean like guys that are very talented, all in alike. And yeah, it's going to start with Shamari and it's going to start with Corey. Those are guys that have been getting it done here for us for a long time. I thought TK really showed what he could do last year, and he's a different style of back. Deneric is different than even those three. I feel like he's a guy that kind of runs with an angry attitude about him. He's got really good speed. He's done a nice job in all the different facets of the game. With not having spring ball and then, fall camp being what it has been, I want to make sure that he's prepared to step into a game and be really locked into what he's got to do, even if that's from a pass protection standpoint or if he's getting out en route or, it's real easy to say, he knows how to run the zone, just hand it to him, right? But there's a whole lot more to being a running back than just running the football. And so we want to make sure that he's prepared for that, and we're putting him in a situation for him to be successful. But we are extremely excited about what he brings to the table and know that he's got a great future ahead of him here.
Coach, I know you're excited about your cornerback, but having Daniel Martin back is huge there in the secondary. Coming back, and fingers crossed that he can remain healthy on the season. But what a difference maker that Daniel could be.
Yeah, really. When you start really thinking about our safeties, and I'll probably just start with the nickel parts of it. Christian Williams, who's been a multi-year starter for us back there and had gone through all the different obstacles that he's had placed in front of him throughout his career here. Came back last year after the surgery and had a fantastic year. Bryson Powers backing him up, but really Bryson started a ton of games. And so you feel like you have really good depth, those guys being able to work in and out together. Kendarian Ray is a kid that has made unbelievable plays for us on special teams and played some defensively last year. I think he's got a great amount of talent about him. He's got length, he's got speed, he does a nice job coming down fitting in the box. I think he's got an extremely bright future here. And then you talk about Tyneal. Tyneal has been a guy that has fought some injuries over the course of his career here. He's been staying healthy, and he's been really, really working at a high level. We've got a couple of other guys that we're looking at with you talking about LJ and Jet and Jace and several others back there that have made some really nice plays throughout practice. But Tyneal has done a nice job of kind of adapting and moving around and being able to play multiple spots back there. And I think this could be a tremendous year for him.
Any other questions, guys?
Everybody good?
Philip, it's supposed to be about 78 degrees at kickoff for your game on the 19th. So,
Love it. Let's go. I know my offensive line will be happy about that. All right, guys. Thank y'all very much. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great day.